Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. Before we start, I'd like to thank all of you for the awesome engagement my videos have gotten in the past few weeks. And to those of you that also enjoy my videos but still haven't subscribed, maybe today's the day you join our awesome community. Now, let's get started with today's main story. This post is from the subreddit Relationships and it's by user Shy Fossa. My 22 female aunt, 50 female, might be getting baited by a guy she met on Instagram, and I don't know how to talk to her about it. A little about my aunt. She's a former artist, extremely overweight and disabled, and lives with her mom. I say former because she used to be pretty big on the professional scene in our area, selling her artwork. But after her illness, she stopped making art until the last year or so. Since she doesn't leave the house much, I thought I would open up her world a little through social media and give her a new platform to share her art through. I thought I did great, fielding her questions, teaching her how to block people who make her uncomfortable, etc. At first, she posted all about her art, and it was super cool to see her getting out there again. Now, her feed is mostly motivational quotes posted over generic inspiring images. Typical boomer on Facebook aesthetic, down to very slimming filtered selfies where she doesn't even look like herself. It's a 7-layer salad of cringe. Whatever, right? Enter Andy. She started showing us pictures of this smoking hot guy around 3 months ago. We're talking nice tan, totally ripped, perfect teeth set in his head below the 2 sapphires he's calling eyes. He's got a German Shepherd and was supposedly in the Marines. He looks like perfect social media bait, like too damn good to be true, and he's into my aunt. Andy also apparently lives in a city about 2 hours away, so meeting him is plausible, but he has to come to her since she can't drive. None of us think he's real. He does weird crap like claim he doesn't know how to use Facebook or Instagram, even though they met on Instagram. She started sending him gift cards almost right away. A month after they met, he was supposed to pick her and my grandma up to take them to a family dinner we had. We knew they had a ride but didn't know who the ride was because my uncle usually drives them. We get a call 10 minutes before my mom, girlfriend, and I are leaving for dinner saying that Andy hasn't shown up yet and they need a ride. So we give them a ride and wonder why the hell none of us knew Andy was coming to dinner. Her Instagram posts about him are still cringeworthy. She posted a picture of his dog and called it her baby, their son, etc. And said of the dog, "Mama loves you, baby." She randomly texted me once asking how to do a background check. When I asked what was up, she just said someone was shady and didn't say anything more on the subject. Cut to this morning. My girlfriend woke me up to show me a post she made that says she started a painting of her boyfriend slash fiance. Record scratch freeze frame. What? Is this the same woman who wouldn't stop bad-mouthing about my uncle getting engaged to his girlfriend after a year, saying the girlfriend only wanted him for money? We hadn't even heard of this guy until 3 months ago, and to my knowledge, no one except maybe grandma, assuming he exists, has met him. Now, 3 months later, she's engaged? Now, my dad, her brother, has been pretty disengaged, saying anything he needs to know about this guy, he'll learn in time. And I get it. She's missed most of the major milestones that society sees as important. As far as I know, she's never had a significantly long adult romance. My brother and I are the closest things to kids she has. And she hasn't had a driver's license for my whole life. She lives with her mom. She's lonely, and the intention probably feels great, but I'm worried still. I don't want to see her taking advantage of. I feel like I should talk to her, but I don't know how to do it without making her feel like I'm out to get her. Please, any advice would be great. Wow, Obi, the way that you show this information, it does seem like she's getting catfished. This is a serious situation because your aunt can be taken for a lot of money, which of course is a bad thing. Now, the only thing that comes to mind that you could do is go to your aunt, tell her what you think, and ask her for one thing. that you'll take her to see him, but she can't tell him. So he supposedly lives 2 hours away. Maybe tell your aunt to ask for his address because she's got a surprise for him and she wants to send it to him, and it's not something that can be done online. Like, this way she gets to prove you wrong when he actually shows up and opens the door, and you get to meet the guy, which apparently everybody wants to do. And on the other hand, you can actually show her that he doesn't exist and that she's being scammed. Look, I understand where your heart is. Of course, you don't want your aunt to get hurt. It sucks to know that you've been taking advantage of this way. Of course it does. But you also can't let it continue happening because it is obviously what it's happening here. Other than that, the only thing that would come to mind is if you've got his Instagram profile, maybe try to do some internet sleuthing to see if there are any holes in his whole story. Now, apart from all of that, I would also worry about the emotional fallout that your aunt may experience when she finds out that this is a big lie. So just be ready to try to help her out if that happens. And what do you guys think about this whole situation? How would you go about it if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. In the Bin I Go says, "This makes me so sad. I weirdly can picture my elderly dad doing this, especially because he's horrible with social media. I'm not sure how close you and your aunt are, but try prodding for more details. Have they even met? If not, have they ever talked via video call? Voice chat is not enough. If she gets upset, let her know it's out of concern. You don't think she's stupid, but you just wanted to check." And OP responds, "We're fairly close. We're both artists, so we have that bond. I live a few minutes away from her and my grandma, and I visit once every couple of weeks or so, and text and call when I don't see them. I can probably ask for more details. I've been so unsure of how to handle the situation. I've admittedly not dug very far. The engagement thing just pushed me over the edge. Thank you for your advice." Purple Unicorn Cupcake, oh, my daughter would love that, says, "I had an old co-worker who got catfished a couple of times and sent 1,000 plus to her boyfriends. She was sweet but overweight and older, still living with her parents. I remember her showing us a few pictures that looked like stock model photos, clearly fake. People told her he wasn't real, but apparently they would talk on the phone, and he even sent her flowers a couple of times, but he always made an excuse why he couldn't meet. Hope your aunt can come to terms with reality, but perhaps she knows but is in denial and just wants to act out this fantasy." And OP responds, "I'm startled because that sounds like exactly what's happening. My mother thinks that soon he'll start asking her for money. I know she sent him a gift card or two. I just hope nothing more. She also says things like, he called me around 3 a.m. and we talked till the sun came up. But she also sometimes calls DMing calling. I take it you're also assuming this guy is fake?" As soon as you said he's in the Marines, I knew it's a scam. You should head over to r/scams and check out their master scam post and read up on the romance scam. Has this guy been asking for money? Also, you could try doing a reverse image search on his pictures and see if they're stolen. And OP responds, "Same. My parents were both Navy and had never heard of a base where he said he was stationed, so they know he's BS too. And I'm confused why her brothers haven't taken any initiative to talk to her. Well, that's only partly true. I guess my dad did, but I have no idea what was said. From what I know, he's not overly invested in educating her." OP's short-term update number 1. I texted her, "Since when is Andy your fiance?" And she replied, "He asked me about 2 months ago. Funny, huh? Laughing crying emoji." I'm currently resting the urge to drive to her house and explain catfishing this instant. OP's short-term update number 2. I have acquired photos of the guy and plan to reverse search them now that I'm home. My girlfriend is helping me trawl her Instagram for clues. She found a post that suggests someone has already expressed concerns, and I think that may have been my dad. So if that's the case, I'll have to tread carefully because she didn't take it well. But I'm asking my dad for some more information. I hope to get myself some cold, hard facts within the next couple of days and then gently open the conversation with her when I can visit. I really don't want to push her deeper into this fantasy she's constructed, so I hope to engage her via Googling, as was suggested here. I don't know what the outcome will be, but please keep me in your thoughts. I'm super worried it won't go well. This has been eating me alive. I feel a great deal of responsibility for this situation. I thought when I got her started on social media, I covered all the bases, and catfishing didn't even occur to me at the time. One would hope that their loved ones could be held to a little internet savvy accountability, but sadly, I think I hoped a little too high and my internet safety lessons fell short. I also feel really hurt or almost betrayed. I'm still not over the fact that I discovered her engagement via Instagram post of all things, instead of her sharing this with us. It definitely makes me wonder if Andy is encouraging her not to give us details. Or maybe she knows in her gut this isn't right and so she doesn't want to overshare, or maybe she's afraid we'll judge her. I don't know. Hopefully, I'll get some clarity when I talk to her. Thank you again. I definitely feel like I can form a better plan using the advice you've all given me. Alright, well, it sounds like the community really came through for OP with the advice, particularly that Google reverse image thing. I didn't come up with it. I should have because it's not a new tool. Anyways, it came up, OP knows about it, and she's going to do something with it. So it's time that we move on to the update to see what happened next, but before that I'd like to ask that if you're enjoying this video and all my other videos and you still haven't subscribed, consider doing so, and also click that bell notification so you know when I upload a new video, which is every day. Now let's move on with that update. After making the original post, I couldn't get the situation off my mind. It was driving me nuts and really just stressing me out. I talked it over with my mom and asked my aunt to send me some pictures of Andy. She asked why, and I told her that I wanted to compare them to the painting of him she'd started. So I acquired the pictures and then did a reverse image search, as many of you suggested. Thank goodness she sent me more than one picture of the guy, because only the last one got a hit. But from there, it was smooth sailing. Turns out the real guy is a popular Instagram model. He's got information about him being a Marine and having a dog with the same name as Andy's dog right in his bio. This dude was so lazy, he just lifted the real man's basic information. The dog even has an Instagram, and I found more photos of Andy sent to her. And to make my life even easier, the real guy has a series of videos up in his highlights section labeled Scammers. I watched them, and basically it was him addressing what to do if someone is being catfished with his pictures. I was super nervous but confident I had what I needed, so from there I slept on it and then asked my aunt if I could visit. My mom helped me stay calm beforehand, and the worst part leading up to it was standing in their house saying hello and just waiting to drop the bomb. I started off by saying, "There's actually a reason I'm here. I have something to tell you and you won't like it." I explained my motives for getting Andy's pictures, the reverse image search, and finding the real guy. I pulled up his profile and the dog's and let her scroll through it while answering questions she and my grandma had. She tried to call Andy, text him, and it was weird, guys. She used the phrase, "I'll go psycho on his ass," in several variants. She never struck me as that type of person, but she was just blowing him up. And of course, when she finally got a hold of him and asked him to explain what I'd found, his voice. She had him on speakerphone. "Baby, what you saying?" This was basically his answer to everything she said. "Baby, we don't need this. You just gotta trust." I wanted to grab the phone and tell him to cut his crap, but I didn't. I stayed a couple more hours answering questions and trying to console her. Apparently, they'd actually been talking for like 2 years? I'm torn on whether or not to believe that, because as much as I love my aunt, I know from experience she can bend the truth to fit delusions sometimes. Anyways, my grandma, who was there the whole time, was being her usual brusque self, so I pulled her aside and tried to explain that this wasn't the time for tough love, but for the band-aid and kisses type of motherly support. She agreed and thanked me, saying that she'd been seeing my aunt change, but she didn't say how. After we went back into the main room, she was trying to be a little bit more sensitive, but it didn't come naturally to her. From there, I needed to go to work and take care of something before the workday ended. Since then, unfortunately, it seems that despite my warnings that she would not get anything that could be guaranteed as the truth out of Andy, she insisted on demanding explanations, and now he's got her convinced that everything they had was real and that a friend had dared him into the deception. So now, according to her, they are talking and there's a lot of trust to rebuild. The turn of events saddens me, but I did my job, and she's an adult who has to make her own choices. I'm trying to let go of the outcome, which obviously wasn't the one I hoped for, and not to feel hurt. I know she's going through a lot emotionally and that it was silly to hope my intervention would change things. Hopefully, she'll see the truth of it sooner rather than later, and I can have played a part in that. Well, OP, you did what you could. You've already told her what's going on and she's seen the evidence. The rest is on her. One thing I would say to help her get to the truth quicker or to get a grasp on reality quicker is to not send him any money and see how fast he just fades away or stops having contact with her. In any case, hopefully she does open her eyes sooner rather than later, as you say. Thank you so much for sharing, OP, and take care. And now let's finish this video with a much needed mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance, and it's by user It's Pronounced Tribe. How I complied my way out of a parking ticket. A few years ago, I parked in a paid parking lot but forgot to buy a parking ticket. When I came back a few minutes later, I discovered an $80 ticket on my dash. While I was frustrated about my own forgetfulness, the ticket itself was fair. However, I came to discover that the amount they had charged me was not. Before leaving the lot, I noticed a small sign on the terms and conditions sign at the entrance of the lot. It said that a failure to pay for a parking ticket would result in a $70 ticket, not the $80 that I was charged. While I'm no lawyer, I do know that those signs essentially create an implicit contract upon entering the lot. Therefore, the company was technically violating its own contract by charging me extra. I appealed the ticket, stating that I would be happy to pay the agreed upon $70, but it was rejected. I then reached out directly to customer service explaining the same situation. They rejected my request to pay the valid $70 because their ticket amounts are non-negotiable. Cue the malicious compliance. I realized that, in their own words, they were the ones attempting to negotiate the price by charging me an extra $10. So I called up the supervisor of their claims department. She was already aware of this dispute and immediately attempted to shut me down, saying, "The signage is not up for discussion." I reminded her that their company's policy states that the ticket amounts are non-negotiable and that given what the terms on the sign stated, they were trying to negotiate a higher price. Once again, she shut me down, stating the signage was not up for discussion. The rest of the conversation went something like this. "So, where can I escalate this from here?" She says, "There is no more escalation. The next stage is court." Cue more malicious compliance. Seems silly to go to court over $10, don't you think? Yeah, it does. Okay, well, I'll begin the small claims court process over the non-negotiable price issue then. Okay. I was having fun at this point and was fully ready to start taking legal steps over the $10 on a matter of principle, and knowing that if I did, the company would immediately cave. Before doing that, however, I sent one final email to the vice president of the company. I explained the whole dispute, explaining the signage, their non-negotiable policy, and how the appeals supervisor told me my next step was to take it to court. I offered them the opportunity to resolve this civilly before going on to that stage. Not even 3 hours later, I got an email back stating that my ticket had been fully cleared as a courtesy. I called their bluff, maliciously complying with the contract and the take it to court attitude, and it worked. As an added bit of pettiness, I replied thanking them and CC'd the appeals supervisor. I then directly addressed her, telling her that this was how easy it could have been resolved if she had actually addressed the signage issue. The moral of the story? Push back against parking lot companies. They use shady practices and try to scare people into paying unjustly. Often, a simple but credible legal threat will make an issue disappear. Smiley face. Well, OP, you were just simply following the rules and the hints and guidance that they gave you in order to resolve this issue. And you would have happily paid to the 70, but you had to pay 0. Thanks for sharing, OP. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.